What is going on? It is week 6. We're coming off a crazy week 5, a bunch of upsets. A lot of fantasy points were scored over this weekend. I think I saw somewhere that it's one of the highest scoring weekends in recent memory. So a lot of fun stuff to talk about coming out of week 5. Looking forward to week 2. We got some fantasy roulette wheel topics lined up here. We got Christian McCaffrey. We got Jaylen Waddle. We got Emeka Egbuka. And a bunch of others that we're going to talk about tonight. Of course, Forgotten Fantasy Player, and of course, our nonsense draft. So hang tight.
Going for 2, kickers are extra, I give them the boot. Ooh, going for 2, sit back, relax while I grab me a brew. Ooh, now I'm reclining while putting my time and I'm ready to go. My spine is aligning and much my lineups, my bank account grow. I am so rich, but knowledge is all that I'm leaving it with. Oh, listen to this, multiple options, how far can I get? Oh, DFS Dynasty redraft tonight, I'm not finishing last. I'm finishing past any and all, I am looking to last. What else? This spot is popping and I am so locked in and only opening the door when it is opportunity knocking. And all of these spots keep on talking and talking. So what are we talking? What kind of alignment? And running it deep, even players forgotten or came from the bottom or hitting that top. And this spot is popping, yeah, this spot is popping. And woo! This is the armchair, yeah. Put up your arms, yeah. Sound the alarm, yeah, yeah, yeah. Woo!
What is up, and welcome to episode 436 of the Armchair Fantasy Show. I'm your host, of course, Geoff Lambert. Follow me on Twitter at GeoffLambert77. Of course, we're here live every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Talking fantasy football with these two gentlemen. To my right, I guess your left, depending on how you're looking at it. I got Chew at Father Dynasty on Twitter. What's up, man?
What's up, Geoff? Just we're another week into the season. I feel like people keep getting hurt and keep underperforming, and all of them are on my team, apparently.
Yeah, that's how it feels sometimes, for sure. For sure. Also with us tonight, Ryan. What's up, man?
The fantasy and real football misery is real this year. Just got to embrace it at this point.
Yeah, I don't get it. My team keeps finding a way to win, and your team keeps finding a way to lose. I thought it would be the other way around this year.
I'm miserable.
Sorry.
Every day it's miserable. I didn't even do my podcast this week because I was so miserable. My other show on Sunday, I couldn't record.
Wow, it's not good, man. Not good. Of course,
I had other reasons too, but I'm going to say that was the main one.
Fair enough. As always, guys, make sure if you're on YouTube, hit that like, subscribe button. It really helps us out. Of course, we're also on all major podcast networks. If you don't catch the live show, you can catch us in audio. Let's go ahead and jump right into our nonsense draft.
Attention, everyone. Let's mock draft.
All right, tonight is a very simple, straightforward nonsense draft. Not much to it. It is just things that start with the letter S, and it could be things, it could be people, it could be literally anything. It could be a brand. It really doesn't matter. We're just, as long as it starts with the letter S, you can go with that. And Ryan, you got the 101 here.
Dude, the ideas are hard to come by at this point, I guess. Holy cow. Just do the alphabet. 101, I'm going to pick superpowers. Just in general.
Just in general, yep.
Easy peasy. No specific one. But
just in general, I like it. Got to have those.
Yeah, why not?
All right, Chew, you got the 102.
All right, well, if I'm going to kiss a little ass for this being a fantasy show, I'm going to go Superflex because it has changed the way that I enjoy fantasy football.
Good call. I wasn't even thinking fantasy. That's how crazy it is, right? I wasn't even in that mode. Our whole show's about fantasy, and I completely ignored that element of it for our draft. All right, I got the 103, and I was hoping that y'all wouldn't take this one. This one is not going to come into any surprise to anybody that's listened to this show or to my other show with my daughter. I'm going Star Wars. Gotta have Star Wars, right? That's probably the 101 for me. If I had gone first, I'd have taken Star Wars 101. All right, Ryan, back to you at the 201.
Sazerac Rye Bourbon. Nice, delicious, hard to find drink.
How do you say it?
Sazerac Rye.
Sazerac Rye. I don't think I've ever heard of that.
No, it's impossible. I find it maybe once every 6 months in the store, and I always buy like 2 to 3 bottles.
Wow, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, Chew, you're up at the 202.
So growing up, I'm sure like most people, video games were the outlet, and I'm going Sega Genesis or Sega. So I mean Sonic, WWF Raw, Earthworm Jim, all the good stuff.
Good stuff. Yeah, that was definitely where I was looking to next, is going into the video game world. I thought you were going to snipe me right there, but you didn't. I'm taking Super Mario Brothers, pretty much blanket across the board, any of them at all. So that was obviously one of the top games when I was growing up, and it's been a top game ever since. So
Hey, movies now.
yeah, exactly. Now that the movies are out too. Yeah, the original movie wasn't very good, but the one that came out was good. All right, Ryan, your last pick here at the 301.
We're gonna say Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, got to go with Spider-Man. Spider-Man's definitely the number one, I think, hero movie. I know Iron Man's up there, but as far as longevity, Spider-Man's got to be the one.
Could have said Superman too. Either one.
Fair enough. All right, Chu, what's your last pick?
This might be kind of a weird one, but sarcasm, because without it, I would have nothing to say.
Yes.
True.
That is awesome. That's a good one. That's something I hadn't thought of either. All right, last pick for me, and I'm gonna go with a brand, and unfortunately, I hate to admit, and Ryan's probably gonna make fun of me. I go here a lot, but
Lululemon.
that doesn't start with an
Silent
S.
ass, right?
Silent.
You
just know you love.
I am a Starbucks person. I like my coffee. I didn't know. I feel like Ryan is like he's like a hardcore like all black coffee, and he's like Starbucks is like.
I am, but sometimes I feel fancy.
Fair enough.
Geoff, it's pumpkin spice season. I'm not going to blame the white girl in you.
Fair enough. Yeah, I can't do without my Starbucks. All right, that wraps up the nonsense draft. If you're tired of long, boring drafts, try our fast draft, the quickest way to draft and win cash under 5 minutes. Perfect for your lunch break or the coffee line. Speaking of Starbucks, use the promo code GF2 and get a 100% deposit match up to $50. Double the cash, double the action. Head to fastdraft.com. Sign up using our promo code GF2 and start winning today. All right, it is time for the Fantasy Roulette.
Let's get ready for Armchair Fantasy Roulette.
All right, y'all know how this works by now. We're going to spin the wheel and get some topics. Let's see what we got first. All right, right off the bat, Davis Matic at Davis Matic on Twitter. Jerry Jeudy is second in the NFL in total routes run at 210, but 60th in the NFL in receiving yards. I'm gonna go to you first, Ryan. So he was kind of a popular, sleeper guy this year, and really hasn't panned out at all. And he's still running a ton of routes. He's doing wind sprints essentially because he's not done anything else with it. Is there any hope for Jerry Jeudy at all?
I mean, coming from the way that we thought it was going to do good because it was going to be Flacco thrown to him. And that didn't work out. Now we have a rookie quarterback who seems just hell-bent on feeding the tight ends. I don't feel great about it. And Cleveland's also a team who's playing ball control and not pushing the ball downfield and just play defense and play ugly football. And it's not in the cards for Jerry Jeudy. He may have a big game here or there, but I'm not comfortable starting him.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there as far as the comfortability. I think you probably drafted him at a point that you probably can't drop him necessarily, but if I have someone better options, I'm definitely putting those in. What about you, Chu? What are your thoughts on Jerry Jeudy?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty optimistic about Dylan Gabriel and how that's going to go for the Browns for the remainder of the season, or at least until their bye week, assuming he doesn't get benched by then. But yeah, it's going to be him feeding Njoku, Fannin, and Judkins getting at least 20 rushing attempts. Like it's going to be a fantasy unexciting team, and Judy's not going to have much to say about it.
Yeah, I was trying to pull up his last game because I believe his last game was his best game of the season. Nope, never mind. I think he had a play called back. It would have been a good game if he hadn't had that one play called back. But yeah, he only had 2 catches on 5 targets this past week with his new quarterback. So not looking good for Jerry Jeudy. I agree with both of you. I think if you have him, you're probably putting him on your bench. Hopefully, you got someone better you can put in. Someone you got off waivers. Maybe this week you can start. I think even the guy like Flournoy from Dallas. I think I'm probably putting him over Jerry Jeudy right now if you got added him off.
Aspiration's real right now at this point in the season, though, with injuries.
Yes, 100%. Injuries and bye weeks right now. You're starting some people that you probably would have never thought you were starting. That's for sure.
So shout out to Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah. All right, let's get our next topic on the board. All right, speaking of wide receivers, Jaylen Waddle, Ryan Heath at Ryan Heath on Twitter says he's got 5 stats to know after week 5. And one of those is Jaylen Waddle has commanded at least 25% of his team's targets in the 10 games or the 10 of his 18 career games without Tyreek Hill. Nico Collins has only done that 8 of his last 18, and Drake London has only done it 9 of his last 18. So Jaylen Waddle without Tyreek Hill, essentially what this is saying, could be in that Nico Collins, Drake London type fit there. And he had a good week without Tyreek Hill this past week. And I'll go to you first on this one, Shu. What do you think of Jaylen Waddle rest of the season? What do you think he can do here?
I mean, I think there's a real chance that he could come close to, if not exceed, his best season, which was, I think, in 2022, which most of that was because of the touchdowns. I think he had 7 or 8 touchdowns and hasn't really come close to that thus far. But what helps him too is we finally get to live out the fantasy that we all have been waiting for, which is, but once Tyreek Hill's not there, I don't think we were assuming injury. We were just assuming he's going to retire, he's going to get traded or whatever. What does this look like when Waddle gets to run the offense basically and be the number 1 option? So, I mean, Jonnu Smith's gone. I mean, Darren Waller's going to get his red zone touches, but Jaylen Waddle gets everything else.
Yeah, agreed. And I think, as long as he can stay healthy, right? That's been his key too, is like staying on the field. If you look at his game logs, he hasn't really missed a lot of games in his career, but it seems like he's always going in and out of the lineup with some kind of ailment, not finishing games that he started, etc. What about you, Ryan? What are your thoughts on Waddle rest of the season?
He gets a little nicked up, but no, we can finally say wheels up on Waddle. Like, it's exciting. Like, he's been somebody who I've had a lot of shares of and just been sitting on because I'm refused to give up short value on him. And now's the time you can actually play him and be happy about him. And he might be a good time to trade him away too if you're in Dynasty. If you're not competing right now, it might be a good time to get rid of him.
Yeah, I actually did
But
trade him in my dynasty, my home dynasty league, which I am competing in, but I'm so stacked at wide receiver in that league. I got Justin Jefferson, I got BTJ, Nico Collins, JSN. So he was kind of my 5th or 6th wide receiver. So I kind of took advantage of the sort of spike in value right before the games this past weekend. I traded him away. So definitely, a player that's kind of looking up. I will say that, obviously we talked about his injury concerns, but the other big one is Tua's injury concerns, right? His success is tied to Tua. I think if Tua is not in there, then Jaylen Waddle is going to struggle. So, as a Jaylen Waddle owner, if you have him, you're hoping that Tua can stay healthy and upright for the entire season. But yeah, I think it was Jamie, I think, in one of our chats, a friend of GoingFor2, and he said he's got Jaylen Waddle pretty much in his top 12 wide receivers rest of the season. So, and I think that's definitely
that's a
possible.
big statement. Like, there's a lot of good receivers.
There is. You're right.
There's a lot of good receivers.
That is true.
Who I'm still going to, even if he finishes there, I'm still starting to get over him. But I'm very excited about him.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I don't know if I can go top 12 either, but after this past week, I mean, it definitely looked good. I think he had 22 PPR points this past week. So, yeah, let's hope we can keep getting that kind of production from him. All right, let's get our next topic. All right, this one is from Fantasy Pros. Name a player that you're giving one last chance to in week 6. Obviously, redraft, because in Dynasty, it's a little bit different story. So we're talking redraft here. What's one player, Chew, that you're kind of on the fence? Like, this is the last week. If he doesn't perform, I'm moving on from him.
Well, it's funny thinking about these because I've got a guy who, in certain instances, I have dropped just because of need. And then other ones, I'm holding on because this is the finale for him. And that's Isaiah Pacheco. I think part of it is the bias of beating that drum before the season of, like, he's healthy. He came back last year off that leg injury. He just wasn't right, and this season, Rashee Rice goes out. The running back room looks atrocious as a whole, but I mean, Kareem Hunt clearly has the trust of that offense. And even once you get Rashee Rice back, Worthy's obviously back and healthy and they're looking better. Pacheco's not really looking that much better. So I'm giving him one more week. And I'm maybe not dropping him in all formats, but I mean, if you can let him go and he's the worst running back on your roster and you have needs elsewhere, then go ahead and drop him.
Yeah, I think I'm with you as well. I think that's actually one I hadn't thought about. So that's a really good one. Pacheco is somebody that a couple years ago, right? I mean, we were excited because he was getting passing down work. He was getting all the rushing work, and that injury happened, and he's just not been the same player since. So good call on that one. What about you, Ryan? You got anybody you're giving one last chance to?
Are we using the term drop, or we're just dead to me here?
Just
Because
you expected him to be a starter, and now you can't start him anymore.
I have 3 names going through my head right now. Can I just do it? Rip them off.
Yep, rip him off. Give us all 3.
Lad, killing me, dude.
Yeah,
Like he just had his highest fantasy finish this week at 21, and I'm just not there for that. Like for what he's put out. And the other 2, it was I actually was I actually had the conversation with myself on who I was benching for Javonte Williams between them, and it felt gross to have this conversation between AJ Brown and T Higgins.
yeah. Those 2 are tough. That was T. Higgins was one of my choices for sure because I have
Like
a bunch of leagues and it's been brutal.
there's been some high-end, highly drafted wide receivers just ruining a lot for people.
Yep, absolutely. There's another guy that I had on my list besides T. Higgins that I was excited about. Plays in a high-powered offense. He is probably the 3rd or maybe even 4th option in the passing game, but I thought he would be able to sort of take that step forward. Talking about Jameson Williams, it just has not happened. I think it's still Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's still Gibbs. It's still Laporta's kind of made a resurgence, and Jameson Williams just has not been able to carve out his niche yet. I think his niche essentially is the deep threat guy, which we know Goff is not going to throw too many deep balls. He of course will have his moments. He'll have those those reverses and take it to the house, or he'll get that one deep ball where he'll catch it, but he's not consistent enough where you can put him in your lineup each and every week. And he was someone that I was kind of banking on and have been since his rookie season, just been waiting and waiting, through the injuries and the suspension and everything else, hoping that he would eventually break out. And now I'm thinking that he's just going to end up being a one-trick pony. I don't think unless he moves on to somewhere else that he'll ever be the one there or the 2.
You know what else might be cuttable? Sorry, this one just popped in my head. And it's DJ Moore.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That offense has moved on without him. Like he is down on the depth chart. And I'm so glad I don't have any more shares of him. That's why I kind of forgot about him. Because he was somebody I had heavily, and I just kind of like slowly moved away from. But man, I didn't realize how bad it actually was.
It's terrible. I got him in my home dynasty league, the one I just talked about with all those receivers. Unfortunately, a lot of them are on bye this week, and I'm trying to decide between him and Zay Flowers, who obviously probably won't have Lamar Jackson. So it's going to be a
And he's questionable.
He is questionable as well. On top of that, so it's going to be between him and Zay Flowers. So not a great choice for sure, either one of them. All right, let's get our next topic on the board. All right. Well, speaking of Isaiah Pacheco, Sal Vitri at Sal Vitri DFS on Twitter is talking about 4 running backs you can drop now if you needed to. Top of that list is Isaiah Pacheco, but he also gives Caleb Johnson, Brian Robinson, and the guy who's been in the news all week, Amari DiMercato. Is there anybody else, Chew, that you want to add to this list? And is there anybody besides Pacheco? You said you're giving him one more week. Are you giving one more week to either of the other 3 guys on the list?
Well, I think the interesting thing about this list is it's looking at people who may, like Pacheco, I think going into the season, abundantly clear he's going to be the starter. DiMercato obviously stumbled into some touches and then stumbled immediately out of those touches, quite possibly. But I mean, so if we're kind of extending it to like not the de facto starter, I mean, some of these backfields are becoming even more clear that, the second and third options are distance, far and away, less options, less opportunities than number 1. I mean, like in Cleveland, like I only trust Judkins. I think going into the season, Ford stuck around. I think took less money and then had an immediate opportunity. Immediately bounced back. Sampson had a good start to the first 2 weeks. Immediately bounced back. I still don't understand that one. Yeah, there's some of those backfields like that where it's just like it's the bell cow, and like Brian Robinson being in there, it's like he's only good when CMC goes down. And if it's doom and gloom and you're going to waste a roster spot holding on to him for the entirety of the season, you can. But, I think in redraft, as we're learning with injuries and stuff, you can only have so many of those people and still compete and have it worthwhile to have him on there.
Yeah, absolutely. He's only the handcuff, and at this point in the season, with buys and injuries, you can't afford to have a handcuff on your bench waiting for Christian McCaffrey to potentially miss a game.
Yeah, but just devil's advocate, out of those people who I'd want a handcuff for,
Christian McCaffrey.
the San Fran's offense is who
Yeah.
I'd want a handcuff running back for. And if I have a deep bench and can afford it, I am. Like, just because immediately touches, immediately bow cow, involved in the passing game, the whole nine. Any running back who's in there may not be McCaffrey, but it's going to be fantasy relevant.
Yeah, fair enough. We do have a question in the chat that I want to get to here from Jelly of the Month. Putting in for Bourne, then Dobbs, but doubt I get either in PPR. I guess he's asking the question, grab Josh Downs or Jalen Coker coming off of IR, but he does have Ted McMillan. What are your thoughts here, Chu? Downs or Coker?
Man, that's a tough decision, huh? I mean, my bias will say Coker, and I do actually think that certainly with Thielen gone, McMillan has a clear role there, but I think Coker could help elevate this offense tremendously. And he and Bryce Young do have a good rapport at this point. Josh Downs, it's basically Tyler Warren stepped in and he said, I'm going to take anything that you did last season, and that's mine now. So I at least have hope that Coker will have a big enough role that will be worthwhile versus Downs needing Tyler Warren to be gone to have any sort of relevancy in fantasy.
Yeah, that's a good point. What about you, Ryan? What are your thoughts here on this, Downs or Coker?
I'm doubling down on not Downs. I'm going with Coke. I feel like I could have worded that better. Damn it. I think Coker fits that role of Tet in to fill in while he's out, being he's a bigger body receiver and fills in. And Downs just hasn't. This offense has been the best it's been in Indy for a while, and Downs hasn't been a part of it. I don't see that changing.
Yeah,
anytime soon.
Yep, I think it's Coker for me as well. And even if he doesn't pan out, at least you get to say you're a cokehead. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the fans, the truthers who call themselves cokeheads. So that's an interesting way. All right, let's get to our next topic here. All right, we got a sit start here from Patrick Matthews, decimated at running back. He's got to start 1 half-point PPR, and these options are not pretty, guys. Kenneth Gainwell, Ramondre Stevenson, or Hassan Haskins. I'll go to you first, Ryan. You got to start one of those 3 half-point PPR.
Gainwell, Haskins, and who's I can't read. That's so small.
Ramondre Stevenson, the other one.
Oh God.
And in the case of Gainwell, I think Jaylen Warren is fully healthy and will play. So Gainwell goes back to a backup role essentially.
Yeah. I want to say Stevenson because I think he has the touchdown upside and that offense is starting to click. But man, he has the fumble rooskies. And Haskins, I know we have a question about it later. We just have to bet on him starting or playing because if that hits, you're in great shape. I think you're waiting till Sunday morning till depth charts come out and you have all the information. If you hear news Haskins is starting or is it a split backfield, go that way. If you don't hear anything or it's unclear, just do Stevenson.
Yeah.
Like you're holding this tight and till the end.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Chu? Where are you going here?
It feels gross to say, and without directly addressing the Haskins, if we talk about that a little bit later, but it's Stevenson, and he's done everything to lose the job. And they're like, but no, if we take the touches away from you, then who will do the Ramondre Stevenson role? Like, they just accept the fact of like, no, you're the power element in this backfield, and we won't have it if you aren't carrying the ball. So we're just going to let you keep carrying the ball. And it pays off well enough, when he's able to punch in some touchdowns in a spot where Trevion Henderson likely wouldn't be able to. I think he's maybe been a little more disappointing than most people had expected, but still deserves a role in that backfield, especially with Gibson down. but it's Stevenson, and you just don't watch the game. Just hope for the best after and look at the points.
Just
Yeah,
pray for some red zone touches.
yeah, absolutely. And that was one thing. I saw a tweet on Twitter about Stevenson and his fumbling issues, and I can't remember the running back he was talking about, but he's like, why is it that my running back fumbles and gets less carries, and Stevenson fumbles and gets more carries? Because he's actually increased his carries after fumbling, which is kind of crazy.
Oh, was that a Blake Corum?
It might have been. It might have been.
Immediately got taken out.
Yeah,
He
you're
was like,
right.
nope, get out of here.
He's done. That's right. I think it was Blake Corum.
Yeah, can you imagine if Bill Belichick was still there? He'd be tarred and feathered.
Oh yeah, he wouldn't even be on the team anymore. He'd probably they would cut him.
Yep.
All right, let's get our next topic. All right, speaking of the aforementioned Christian McCaffrey, he has scored 95.7 PPR points. This one's from JJ Zachariason, late round QB on Twitter. So he scored 95.7 PPR points just in receiving alone. That's more than every receiver this season except for Puka, Amon-Ra, Emeka Egbuka, and JSN. On the flip side of that shoe, he's barely done anything in the running game. So two parts to this question here. One, are you worried about if he can ever get the running game going? And as far as his pass catching ability, how valuable is he, to a PPR league?
Man, I mean, this is the hilarity of San Fran being like, yeah, but what if Christian McCaffrey's not healthy? And it's like, what if none of the receivers are healthy and we're going to sign Christian Bourne and we're just going to hope for the best? And it's worked out pretty well. And I do think there's some level of concern of like, yeah, are the targets going to probably taper off some when I'm not even thinking Ayuk. I'm just thinking Pearsall, Jennings, Kittle coming back, Purdy back under center, or even Mac Jones. It doesn't matter at this point. They might get tapered off a bit, but also with the rushing attack, I'm sure it's dampened by the fact that it's like, well, they only have Christian McCaffrey to do everything on this offense. So, he's going to be stifled in the backfield, but if you get the ball in his hands, especially in space as a pass catcher, he's going to feast. So I trust that he's going to continue his ways of finishing his RB 3, 5, 6, 8, and 4. He's going to be a top 12 running back every single week, barring some weird stuff happening. So
Yeah, so much for the injury scare, before week one, where we thought, oh, is he going to be healthy? And I've always said this about, the 49ers in Shanahan is that, if you're on the field, if you're healthy enough to get on the field, whatever volume you were going to get fully healthy, you're still going to get that volume. They're not going to rest you. If you can get 30 carries, Christian McCaffrey, you're getting 30 carries. That's just how it is. He's always been that way, and he runs them into the ground. But Christian McCaffrey's been doing good so far. Ryan, what are your thoughts so far on Christian McCaffrey? With his PPR points and then his struggles in the running game.
To be honest, who cares? Like,
fair.
Even in standard format, he's RB3. You're getting the ball in his hands in volume's king. And we have 8 years in the league where we know Christian McCaffrey gets points, no matter whether it's in the passing game or running game. We've seen him get 900 yards in a year and still be a top 5 receiver or top 5 running back multiple times. Else does that? Alvin Kamara. Who cares? They get tons of fantasy points. The offense revolves around him. I have zero worries. And people come back. Guess what? Guys aren't clogging the box. And that 3.1 yards an attempt goes up to 5 because they have to actually worry about real wide receivers.
Yeah. Can you imagine if he can maintain this PPR pace and then get the rushing game going as well? Like how good he can actually be.
Yeah, it's Christian McCaffrey. He's great. He's going to finish top 5 no matter what.
Yeah.
With a really good chance at RB1. Like, let's not overthink it, guys. I love the stat and the fans in the digging into it, but let's be real. We know what he is. We know the offense.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Next topic. All right, this one is from PFF. I had to cut off the graphic because it wouldn't fit on here. 5 players to sell high, and they got 5 running backs. 5 players listed here: David Montgomery, Tony Pollard, Rashid Shaheed, Jake Ferguson, and Evan Ingram. Of those 5 names, Ryan, is there anybody that you don't agree with around selling high? Someone you want to hold on for the season?
I mean, who are you really getting that much for out of those guys? Like, Tony Pollard's not going to get you good trade value. David Montgomery is exactly what you thought he was going to be. And you drafted. It's just, I don't understand that. And Jake Ferguson, yes, he's really exceeded expectations, but you can't trade a tight end who's producing like that.
Yeah, I think I believe he's still tight end 1, I think, or pretty close to it. I'd have to go back and check his things, but I think currently he's the tight end 1. So in tight end premium leagues, he's super valuable. I don't know how you'd be able to move him if a tight end premium.
I like. There's none of these guys. Who else do we miss here?
Uh,
I can't. This is so hard to read.
yeah, sorry, it's a small graphic.
Yeah,
David
Shaheed.
Montgomery, Tony Pollard, Rashid Shaheed, Jake Ferguson, Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram just had his best game as a Bronco, but he was so terrible in the beginning that you might be able to sell him high.
I mean, whatever you consider high, maybe you could try to trade him. But he's really the only one who's worth trying to move. The other guys, they are what they are, and nobody's going to get excited about it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a bummer of an answer, but
Ryan's like, I need those guys.
I love David Montgomery. I have him on my team. I'm not shopping for David Montgomery, and I'm not going to overpay for him. But if I get him for value, I'll get him. That's how I kind of feel about all these guys. I'll get them for what they're valued at correctly.
Fair.
I'm not going to oversell, and that's what a sell high is.
Fair. Rashid Shaheed might be one that I would consider trying to sell.
I'm okay with that one.
Yeah. What about you, Chew? Anybody stand out to you?
I'm with Ryan. I hate this question.
Yeah.
It is tricky. I mean, for most of these guys, I can envision someone trying to trade them to me, and I can see where the logic is like, but Jake Ferguson's been doing so good. And I look at the trade and I'm like, okay. And when CeeDee Lamb comes back, I'm not going to want him. Like, at least at the sake of like what his value is now. Like, he's not going to be what he is. He's going to taper back down to the 5 to 7 targets, still be a top 12 tight end, but not be the tight end 1. Like, all these guys, have roles. Like David Montgomery, like, I think he's had 2 meaningful games this season, but has all but not disappeared. But, in terms of snaps and touches, he's 1B to Jahmyr Gibbs. It just depends on what the game script looks like. Yep. So, yeah, a lot of these guys, it's just kind of tricky of like, who can you conceivably actually sell and what is actually high, or is it actually just like you're selling them after good performances, but it's probably the same value as if you sold them before they had those performances. And it's, but yeah,
it's like Prime Day when they give you 2% off.
Yeah, exactly. There is one name on there that I think I would try to sell, not even sell high. I think I would just try to sell at value, and that's Evan Ingram, because I got him in a lot of my leagues, and I thought he was going to be
too many.
Yeah, too many leagues, and he
Joker.
hasn't been that good. He had a good game last week, but I'm not convinced it's going to continue. So if I can get something for him, and I have a good enough tight end that I can put in this spot, I'm trying to get rid of Evan Ingram right now if I can.
I got to sell high for you guys. Cam Skattebo. The hype on him is absurd, and he's great. He's a good player, but he's on a bad offense. The scoring opportunities aren't there, and the hype is way higher than production.
That is a good call for sure.
Like, he's somebody I'm selling. I'm getting videos of him blocking somebody downfield, and which is awesome. It was such a good play. It was fun. But you know what? That doesn't score me fantasy points. I will move him right now and get somebody better.
Yeah.
And get better fantasy value out and get more fantasy points out of it.
Yep. Yeah, he's definitely got a lot of hype around him for sure. And I saw that same play, that block, that he just basically blew up a linebacker and threw him into the ground.
It was sick. But
0 fantasy points on that play.
Zero fantasy points. I would trade him for David Montgomery right now. Like, I think I would rather have that touchdown upside on that offense. I think he's a sell high.
Yeah, and I think I believe Tyrone Tracy is back this week too, which could put a little bit of murkiness into that backfield as well.
He got paid too. Like, he got money. They're gonna use him.
Yep. All right, we got time for a couple more topics here. All right, we got a sit start from a friend of the show, Courtney Harden. He's got some quarterback issues here. Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, assuming he's starting, or Sam Darnold. Who are you starting this week, Chew?
Ooh.
I give it
Let's
to you
say
if you want.
you got
Justin
Field.
Fields,
Yeah,
Trevor
Fields. Who's the other two?
Fields, Lawrence, Jones, and Darnold. Mac Jones.
I mean, I'm kind of leaning Mac Jones. I like Fields, and I mean, he's done nothing really to disappoint thus far when healthy. But going against the Broncos, I'm very leery on him being able to have the. He's one of the ones where I've seen some of the games, and he's a player where it would be better to just not watch the game and just see the points at the end, because you wait to see that it's the fourth quarter where he gets that bomb to Garrett Wilson, and then he has the big run, and then he gets a touchdown. It's like, oh, there's the fantasy points. And it's not necessarily a garbage time thing. Like, it could be a meaningful part of the game, but it's not always the prettiest. And I think going up against the Broncos defense, we've seen a couple of these other teams where the defenses, seem big and bad and kind of waver. The Broncos defense is not that. And I think they're going to, Fields can have some rushing upside against them, but I think he will be overwhelmed. And I think that offense as a whole is going to look pretty rough. And Mac Jones proved, as long as he's healthy and as long as he's the one starting over Purdy, which I think is the case, because I thought Purdy had some setbacks with whatever was going on with him, that Mac Jones can run this offense well. I don't think they're interchangeable per se. I do think Purdy is better than Mac Jones, but Mac Jones fits well in this offense. Finally, after years later of Trey Lance mistakenly going there, Mac Jones finally joins the team, and he doesn't need healthy receivers unless it's Kendrick Bourne and maybe Kittle comes back, or maybe he's off another week. But I think Mac Jones can do it.
Fair enough. What about you, Ryan? Fields, Lawrence, Mac Jones, and Darnold.
Honestly, before you mentioned the Broncos, before looking at the Broncos matchup, I was leaning Fields just because the rushing upside, and it can be kind of ugly with that. But I think I'm leaning Darnold. The Jaguars are putting up points. I think it'll be a decently scoring game, and Seattle has a little bit better defense, so that kind of puts me against Lawrence. And he's been low key balling this year.
Yeah.
And I think he's a floor play, and a very good floor play at that point.
Yeah, so I'll throw the monkey the wrench there and say that I'm going Justin Fields for the ceiling play. I think I had him in DFS last week. He was my cash game quarterback, right? He was the one I had the most exposure to, and she was right for the first 3.5 quarters. Like, man, I chose the wrong quarterback. Like, he is just absolutely terrible, and then he just balled out at the end, all junk time, but they
That's
still
fine.
count. They still count. He had rushing.
It's the opposite of a block.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I'm going Justin Fields. I think he has a decent floor because of the rushing upside, but I think his ceiling is also higher than the other three because of the rushing upside. He gets a rushing touchdown, 200 yards in a passing touchdown, and I think runs for 70 yards on the ground. He's doing more than what the other guys are doing right there. So I'll go Justin Fields in this group here. So sorry, Courtney, we didn't really help your dilemma there. We kind of split.
I'll second Fields with you. Like, he's done it against some decent enough teams.
Yeah.
And he's averaged his points per game's high. And he's had over 7 rushes in 3 of his 4 games.
Yep.
He's got to run the ball.
Yeah, I was just going to say too, the fact that Denver's defense is good, especially in the secondary, that might entice him to run it even more. Right? Don't throw the ball. You're gonna throw an interception. Just take off and run. I don't care. Just get me those fantasy points. So yeah, maybe that helps a bit.
I'll second that.
All right, there you go, Courtney. Start Fields,
and then yell at Geoff when we're wrong.
Absolutely, that's how it goes. All right, this one is from Nathan Johnson on Twitter at Nate Exclaim, and he says, "Do we think Rashee, speaking of Rashee Rice, should be treated as an instant auto start stud upon his return after this week, and why or why not?" So, Ryan, if you have Rashee Rice and you've been holding him on your bench this entire time, it is his first week back into this offense. Are you plugging him in? It's not injury related. Obviously, he's hopefully been keeping in shape. Does he go right into your lineup, you think?
In the perfect world, without buys, without injuries, in my roster's in good shape this week, I'm going to say no. Like if I'm doing well, my team's doing good, and I don't have anything weird, I'll probably let him sit a week because you know what? There's some good pieces on that offense. It's not like he's coming into this shit situation where Hollywood Brown's not playing well, Travis Kelce's not playing well. Like they're passing the ball decent. Oh my gosh, I just blanked on the other receivers.
Xavier Worthy.
Worthy, Thornton. Like there's a lot of weapons on that team. It's gonna be really hard to get volume, and I kind of want to wait and see if I can. But the case is, those people aren't in that shape in fantasy right now.
Yeah, I was gonna
And
say.
you might be forced to. Like in a perfect world, no. But there's a good chance you have to regardless. But I would have my expectations weathered.
Let me ask you this question, and I'm gonna give you a tough question. If you have one of those receivers you just mentioned, Tyquan Thornton or Xavier Worthy, uh, or Hollywood Brown, and you have Rashee Rice on your bench, are you starting one of them over Rashee Rice?
No. I'm still starting Rice over. Maybe no, maybe Worth. No, I'm probably still starting Rice because he has one thing that they don't have, is that red zone threat.
Mm-hmm.
But I said it's against them. That's one thing. I still don't fully trust it because of how he spreads the ball around and how he's done it this year and who's been there.
Fair enough. What about you, Chew? Where are you going with Rashee Rice here? Are you putting him in lineup in that first week he's back?
Absolutely. I'm trying to think of what the team, because I've got him in I think one redraft team. I'm trying to remember the roster, but that's one that I've also dealt with a bunch of injuries too, to where it's like, you mean I get him back? I can't wait to put him in because I'm having to weather the storm of all this other stuff where it's like, not even flex. Like he's going to be one of the, 2 wide receivers I'm starting because I'm having to plug in someone else that's atrocious and my flex is even worse than that. So I think in most scenarios, bit by the injury bug or underperformance bug in some way, I'm going to feel like I am glad to get the chance to do it. If my team actually hasn't underperformed and I haven't really been hit with the James Conner injury and all this other stuff, the Malik Neighbors injury, then it's considering. I mean, if I'm considering is Rice going to be my flex, that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think if I've had him on my bench this entire time, now I guess it would depend on when you drafted him,
Yeah.
because you drafted him almost with the expectation that you weren't going to have him.
Yeah.
So you hopefully have a better option, to at least plug in for a little while. But if you held him this long and you've been waiting for him to come back, I think you start him in that week and just hope that he pays off that first week because you've been basically holding on to him for this whole time. I think he still has at least one more week, right? It'll be after week 6 that he's eligible to come back. And then, if I'm not mistaken, he's got a bye week right after that, I believe. So
it's like 9 or 10.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think if I've held on, especially in redraft, if it's dynasty and I got better options, probably not. But in redraft, I think I'm gonna have to put in my lineup and just hope for the best. All right, so let's do one more topic here, and then we'll get to our prop bets. All right, this one is from Zach Savage at Zach Savage on Twitter. I can't wait to start Bill Krosky-Merritt next week. There's no way a coaching staff gives less work to a rookie running back after they scored 2 touchdowns in a breakout game, right? Question mark. Of course, talking about how he seems to be like the it guy, but they keep finding ways to not get him the ball. They keep using Chris Rodriguez and they keep using these other guys in the backfield and just give him the full workload and see what he can do. What are your thoughts on JCM or Bill or however you want to refer to him, Ryan? What are your thoughts for the rest of the season for this guy?
I'm starting him. I like him. I'm not excited about it till I see volume. Like that reaction, it's still pure fear in there. But I mean, you're going to see a committee anyways. Like, let's be real. I don't think he's an every down horse at this point. I've been shown it, but I'm okay starting him as an RB2 or flex. Again, we're starting to get into dire times of the season already in an early week 6. Like, you should be fairly comfortable with him. Comfortable-ish.
Comfortable-ish, yeah.
Comfortable-ish.
Yeah, because I saw a lot of Bill Krosky-Merritt comparisons to Woody Marks, 2 weeks ago, and now he had this, really good breakout week, and then he was kind of terrible last week. And people were pointing to, Bill, I think only had 14 carries in this past weekend. He just happened to have those 2 touchdowns. Is this going to give him more work, you think, Chew? Do you think he's a plug-in starter this week?
I mean, between the two questions, I don't necessarily think he's like the more work is going to happen. I mean, he's never exceeded 50% snaps at the running back position. And that's despite him having his most touches last week. Yeah, with 16, because I think he got two receptions. But again, they know what they have and what they want to get out of McNichols and Chris Rodriguez, who had been a healthy scratch for the first couple weeks while Bill was getting some work. They know what they have. Everyone just kind of has their spot. They have their role, and it's just going to be it's kind of like a different version of the New England Patriots, where it's like there's less fumbles going on in this backfield, but it's just a clear set of like, you do this, and you do this. But his role is the most upside in the sense of he gets, a target or two, but it's mostly on the ground, shifty home run ability that Chris Rodriguez doesn't really have, more of a plotter. And McNichols is much more just the pass catching upside.
Yeah, I think there was I live in Washington, D.C., and there was that Chris Rodriguez run a couple weeks ago where he had like 43 yards. And the talk was, if that was Bill, it would have been a touchdown. They weren't catching him, right? And they caught Chris Rodriguez and were able to chase him down. So he didn't get the touchdown on that one. So, I think he's the home run hitter. He's the one you want in the offense. And, they're excited about him in Washington. So, hopefully they do kind of give him a little bit more work as he gets, more acclimated to the offense. And with Jaden Daniels back there, it does definitely help, his prospects as well. All right, let's get to our prop bets of the week.
Prop bet of the week.
All right, this week's theme is I looked at the rookies this week. I think we're going into week 6. It's good time to look at some of these rookies. So we're doing the top rookies in PPR fantasy points. There is one guy that's in the top that unfortunately we won't be able to do, Amarion Hampton, because he's put on IR. So I took the top 3 guys here. And Ryan, you get the first one here, the sensation right now, Mr. Emeka Egbuka versus the 49ers, and his line higher or lower than 67.5 receiving yards.
Listen, I think I've hit low almost every bet this year. And I'm going over on it, dude. He's been sensational. And he said 16 to 7.5 right
Yep.
now.
For some reason, it's not coming up anymore. I wonder if they pulled the.
Well, he's hit 67 4 of his 5 games this year, and he's been over 85 for 3 straight. And he just keeps ascending. He keeps becoming a target hog. He's a monster, dude. And Mike Evans is still out. But
Yep. They did
and
raise
Bucky,
it, so it's 71.5 now. Are you still going over the 71.5?
and Bucky Irvin's still out.
Yep.
And those are 2 huge parts of that offense. And the running game's going to be a little bit hard work. And Baker Mayfield loves to sling it to him. Keeping it going. Emeka Egbuka over 71.5.
All right, good stuff. All right, Chew, you get Mr. Ashton Jeanty, who after a slow start, everyone was kind of worried about him a little bit, has come on the last couple of weeks and is now one of the top 3 rookie scoring running backs in PPR. His line, higher or lower? Let me just pull him up to make sure his line didn't change.
God, if his went higher, I'm going to have a panic attack.
Yeah. So it did go a little bit up. It went up to 75.5. So it was 72.5 when I did the sheet. Now it's higher or lower, 75.5. Or if you want, we can go receiving yards. His receiving yards is 16.5. I'll let you pick which one.
Actually, I'll stick with rushing, and I'm going to go under.
Under the 7.
I was going to hesitantly go over when it was, again, only 3 yards less. But, he's only cracked that at one point in week 4 where he actually got 138. But everything else was 38, 43, 63, the 138. And then last week was 67. Geno Smith is imploding. They're about to play the Titans that are also imploding despite having a better week last week than the prior few. But, I can see how it ends up being another 67, maybe creeping into the low 70s and just sweating this one out. But I'd rather be taking the under and feel like a hero when I get it right. And if I get it wrong, then so be it. He'll get 138 yards again, and I'll be an idiot. So
that's good stuff. And while you were talking, the Egbuka line went down again, Ryan. So now it's at 69.5. So even better. It seems like they're updating him as we speak, but it seems
they're
like
watching the show.
Watching the show. You think they'd move it up more just to make me look like a fool. I would keep going higher, baby. We're talking 85, 108, 138, or 168. Keep it going.
Keep it going. Love it.
He hit that bitch twice last week.
Yeah, he was crushing it last week for sure. All right, so I got Cam Skattebo versus the Eagles, and I didn't want to go with like rushing yards or receiving yards. That Eagles defense is pretty solid, so I'm going higher or lower 1.5 receptions, which is a mark that he has hit in every game he's played this year. So I am definitely going over on this one. I think they're going to force them to pass, and they're going to force them to check down. So I think higher is the way to go here. I don't know why this Egbuka play is still kind of thinking here. Let's see.
I love that bet so much.
Yeah, that's a really good line. If you look at
it's gonna get out in the first half.
Yeah, in DraftKings he's at 2.5. So on Underdog he's way too low.
I was literally bringing up my DraftKings right now. No offense, because I can't, because Underdog hates Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think when I looked at his Underdog, I mean his DraftKings line, I think it was 2.5. I think they had an extra one on there. All right, so that Egbuka line just keeps changing. Like literally now it's at 70.5. So I had to accept it again. So it's like every 5 seconds. Let me put my $5 in before it changes again, and then I'll recap it here.
No matter what it is, we're higher. It's okay.
All right, so the recap. Ashton Jeanty, we are going lower than 75.5 rushing yards. We are going higher than 1.5 receptions for Cam Skattebo, and we are going higher than 70.5 or 71.5 or 80.5, whatever you want to do with the Egbuka line there, but we're going higher than all of that. Dropped our $5 on there. It's that easy, guys. Make your call, hit your picks, win big with Underdog Pick'em. Use our promo code GF2 and you can get up to $1,000 in bonus bucks. It's that easy. Just sign up, use promo code GF2 and start winning today. And we just missed our line last week. I think we missed it by 4 yards. Pretty brutal. We hit all the legs, and then we missed it by 4 yards. I can't remember who it was that we had. Was it Dak Prescott? Yeah, it was Dak Prescott passing yards. We missed it.
Dak Prescott letting people down by inches. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, it was brutal. I thought for sure we were going to hit it, and then towards the end there, I'm like, oh man, they're going victory formation. They're not even going to throw it anymore. I was like, this is terrible. All right, it is time for the Forgotten Fantasy Player.
Get ready for GoingFor2.com's Forgotten Fantasy Player of the Week.
All right, so it is my turn for the Forgotten Fantasy Player tonight, and I have a good one here that I think y'all can get it. It's not too difficult.
Roger Craig.
No, he's guessing 49ers. All right, so this guy. He was drafted by the Jets, but you don't remember him as a Jet. He really didn't do almost anything with the Jets. The teams you remember him for are both AFC teams. And then the last team he played for in his last season, he played for the Baltimore Ravens, which you also probably don't remember too much. Ryan might, but not something that you would think of him as. But the 2 teams he played for that you do think of him as is oops, I minimized Ryan instead of the shared screen. There we go. All right, so that's the first hint. I'll give you the years that he played. He was in the NFL starting in 2009, and he is known more for his PPR side of things. So he's definitely a pass catcher. Tell me if you want to give you some more.
You said Jets?
Jets was his first team. Yeah, his first team was the Jets.
And he ended with the Ravens.
Ended with the Ravens.
And those were the 2 teams, or you're saying there's
2 teams in the middle.
Okay, got it. Okay, got it.
Yeah, those are the 2 teams on the bookends that you don't really think of them in those 2 spots. The 2 teams in the middle is the ones you think of them as. His best season was in 2015. He had 106 targets. 80 receptions and 6 touchdowns.
Jeremy Mack? No, that's not right. You said AFC teams. You said all AFC teams, right?
Yes, they're all AFC teams. Next hint. He is not a receiver. 2015, 106 targets. He also had a season in 2013 where he had 88 targets, 76 receptions. Never scored more than 6 touchdowns in a season. You want some more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. He is 5'8", very short running back at 5'8".
Oh my God.
Let me see if I can give you his college. I don't even know if this is going to help you all or not.
It's not not Justin Forsett.
I don't even know this college. Chadron State. I've never even heard of that.
What's the mascot of Chadron State?
Will the beast.
Let's see what other hints I can give you here. Do you want me to give you one of the teams he played for that you would know him from?
Wait.
Go ahead.
So you say he's 5'8".
Mm-hmm.
PPR. I don't know if he was drafted by the Jets, but Danny Woodhead?
Danny Woodhead it is. Yes.
Wow.
Good call. Yeah, when I looked him up, I was like, he played.
I don't remember that at all.
Jets? I don't even remember him being on the Jets, but yeah, his first year was.
I don't remember being on the Ravens.
Yeah, his last year
was
in 2017. He had, I think, what do you have? 14 attempts for 56 yards. So not a whole lot there. And then with the Jets, his first season, he had 15 carries. And then he was traded mid-season to the Patriots in 2010. And, of course, we know him as a Patriot. And then, of course, he goes to the San Diego Chargers, and we know him from that team as well. Good pull. Did the Chadron State give him away?
When I was thinking, I was like, if it's not a big, like when you said PPR, I was like, if it's not a big school, I'm just trying to think of the more obscure PPR guys. And then I was thinking, I was like, the reason you didn't say the other AFC team, I was like, it's got to be the Patriots. So and then, yeah.
There you go. Good stuff. And Kyle's asking in the chat here, is that the school that Ray GQ went to? I actually don't know. Maybe he did. I'll have to find out.
Some overlap.
And then I didn't actually see Nemo's comment in here. Maybe he guessed it before we did, but he actually put Danny Woodhead in the chat. So great job, Nemo, if you got that before we named it. Good stuff. All right, fellas, that wraps the podcast up. We'll go around the room, give us your Twitter handle, and we can find you working on. We'll go to you first, Ryan.
Find me, Foss534. Find me here. Find me over the Rookie Big Board, Fantasy Big Board podcast.
Good stuff. Chew.
Find me on Twitter at Father Dynasty and check out fatherdynasty.com, which is my Substack. So it's the Substack, the podcast, and the rankings that are linked through there. Obviously, are linked with GoingFor2 there. But yeah, and check us out every single Wednesday.
Yep, good stuff. As always, guys, you can follow me on Twitter at Jeff Lambert77. I want to thank everybody in the chat. We got Nemo, we got Kyle in there. Jelly of the month, I think he's he or she, I don't know which, is a new listener. So thanks for tuning in. Albert, I saw you in the chat as well. So thanks for tuning in. For Chew, for Ryan, I am Jeff, and we'll see y'all next week. Good luck in week 6 or 5. We're in 5, right? No, we're in 6.
Thanks.
Brutal.
It's just terror this year.